Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for War Season 34 kickoff here. This is the first war of the season. We have Mystic Dispersion, the new tactic. We have Defiance, which is a very good attacker tactic to combat Mystic Dispersion. And then additionally, we have the changes to loyalty. So when you win a war, you're going to be getting a lot of loyalty now. They just changed the revive system so that we get the basically free 40% revives. So I guess I'm feeling a little bit better about things this season. Unstoppable Armor was a pretty trash tactic for me. And I think Mystic Dispersion is still going to be a little tricky in some spots, but they are giving us ways to combat it with the the different Defiance attackers, as well as just in general, it's a little bit easier to deal with than, like going stun immune and unstoppable in the middle of stuff was very tricky to deal with in some scenarios last season. But I am going to be doing the full Apocalypse and Archangel team today, some Horseman Archangel stuff a little bit later. And yeah, Miles, if Archangel is not banned, I'm not really sure what Miles is going to do on defense. Now, of course, on strike counter, it makes sense because when you throw a special against him, he goes into spider camo and you're probably going to have hits miss, and then it's going to trigger the global with protection. He's probably going to smack you. But then on a node like this, if you don't throw your specials, then he could potentially build up Furies. So that's why we just send Archangel to basically turn him off, and he has a small health pool and he just goes down like nothing. But I could see, if that was an Archangel ban or something, finding a counter for him there would be a little bit trickier. You'd have to deal with the Furies and play a little bit better. But Archangel just kind of makes it a joke. And then we have ramped up Apocalypse here because we have Cable, of course, for the synergy. And Kraven is a little tricky. You have to watch out for his special 1, and this does have power focus 1, which means he could potentially throw them. The things you need to worry about is he sort of has a limber type mechanic for all debuffs, where the more you apply them, the shorter they last. So you basically have to play them like there's limber. So that's like, baiting heavies and stuff. And then additionally, if he throws a special 1 and puts a trap on the map, and then if you walk into the trap, you get rooted. And fortunately, Apocalypse is a rank 4, and with the power back boost and stuff, he's just going to take care of business without him even throwing any specials. But, I do see the danger in that fight if you're not able to fit Apocalypse, of course. So overall, decent placement. It's actually the first time I fought Kraven in War. And this is actually going to be the first time that I fight Misty Knight in War. And she's on 5A. They did a really good job with this lane. I think Misty going into Kitty Pride is a very tricky back-to-back matchup that really causes you to kind of split your options here. And so because of that, Tofre and I actually split this lane, and he used Guardian for the Kitty, which, by the way, is a really, really good counter. But I do kind of feel like I'm wasting these Mystic boosts here. So, my Mutant boosts. So that's my own waste of loyalty right there. But I did have to read her abilities. If you dex, then those little cold snap charges happen. And then if you parry, the little armor break charges happen, and if those things are in equilibrium over 6, then she's going to have unblockable specials, kind of like right there. She went unblockable. Additionally, the cold snap ones give her a small chance to evade. It's kind of small, like it only goes up to 12%, but you do have to be aware of the evades. Like right there, she did evade. She evaded again, so even it's 12% chance, but she's already evaded twice. And we have to worry about the protection on this node, but I did land some pretty easy intercepts. And at the end of the day, 2 special 1s is all it took to get her down. So now that we're sort of in the dawn of rank 4s, I just feel like having a rank 3 defender that doesn't have that much HP is probably going to just be taken care of. But I do think that having a strong mutant against Misty right there was important. And yeah, that was how that fight went down, so nothing too exciting there. And then we're going to take the entire left side of the mini-boss islands right now, using Archangel as a horseman. Now, I took this Super Skrull over the off-season, and it went very smoothly. But in this fight, I think we're going to kind of respect this new Mystic Dispersion tactic because I got a little bit unlucky with the RNG on my Neuros. And because of that, I did have to deal with the tactic, and I did mess up a couple times. So right there, 1 bleed, 2 bleeds, it's not going so well. Finally, we get a poison. Okay, there's some Neuros. This has power efficiency, so he's going to have a lot of power, a lot of specials. So he's melting away. Things aren't too bad. But I am looking like the lack of poisons is kind of scaring me a little bit. I'm looking at this fight thinking like I'm probably going to have to just reset Archangel here. So we have the falter on us. We've lost our Neuros, so we got him down halfway. So now we just need to bait this special and basically start the fight over, and we should be okay. So right there you see, because we hit him, well, he was missing. The protection came up right there. That was a mistake. I should not have heavied there because my dex expired and it put Mystic Dispersion on. So now we know that there's a cooldown for Mystic Dispersion, so we can freely hit him and not worry about the tactic for at least a little bit. But there are other ways to miss in this fight. Like right there, he could have faltered us. Right there, approaching falter. So we just kind of have to pay attention to all these different ways to falter. I didn't notice the falter debuff on me there. So now he's just smacking into us in the corner. Right there, we procced the tactic, and some of the hits connected anyway because of ability accuracy. So yeah, this fight is definitely a little sloppy. Right there, we did catch it, but we had enough Neuros to hit him a little bit. You know, this is a scenario where it might be nice to have a higher SIG Archangel so that at 2 Neuros things go a little bit better. He's just heavying away in the corner, but I did save this special 3 for my like emergency eject switch, which we were able to just get him down with this. So, you know, I never was too worried in this fight that I was going to die, but you can see that it did get a little sketch there because the Neuros didn't pile up. Like if I had just gotten to like 7 or 8 Neuros on that first cycle, he would have been dead. It would have been no problem. But it was definitely good practice to know what to look at. There's just lots of miss, lots of falter on that node in addition to the tactic. So I had to take a little breather after that because obviously the heart rate was a little high. But we're going to go up against some Doctor Strange type characters now, and I have the invuln on, so you know, if I tank special 3s and stuff, I'll be fine. And then this one just has conflictor, so I like using no white Magneto pre-fight for conflictor. It just gives me a little bit more control to start landing bleeds because you can reset conflictor with a parry. Right there we missed a parry, and then he threw his special, so it's sort of like hit the reset button on the fight. But now we triggered conflictor again. I'm just blocking the hits so that I don't get staggered, so that I don't trigger Mystic Dispersion. But at this point we're getting some good RNG unlike the last fight, and now we have enough Neuros to know that he's going to die. So that's kind of what I was talking about in the last fight. Like if you're using Horseman Archangel and you see like 7 or 8 Neuros, you know that you're going to be fine, and we ended up getting there. So, you know, Archangel does have shrug protection through his defensive ability, through the ability accuracy reduction, of course, but also as he stacks bleeds, they cannot shrug. So he is pretty good there. You just need to get that initial parry off, reset conflictor, and then just go to town and hope for the best. But of course, the tactic and him just being a mystic that can gain insane amounts of power is also a little scary. And we haven't seen Sorcerer here since the high ground days, but she is back on node 54. And the plan here is basically the same. Now, if I had Reed Richards pre-fights, it would make this even safer. But, you know, what we're banking on is that we're not going to get hit. So right there, I have the dex. So look, I hit her 1 time. That's the way to combat Mystic Dispersion. You know you have the dex on you. you hit once, you trigger the global, and then you get the heck out of the way. That's the way to do it if you know the global is going to proc. So now we just have to wait out this miss. We took one of our special 3s. Now the miss is on cooldown, and we can just go to town. And, you know, the reason I don't think you really even need any of the read debuffs here is because you can tank 3 special 3s, and her special 2 is really easy to outrange. So even though it's unblockable, it's no problem. We just kind of slow comboed into a special 2, and that was enough to get her down. So yeah, even though we were knowingly pushing her to special 3s, as long as you don't get hit, you can tank 3 special 3s, and it's hard to imagine her not dying during that time, because that's like 9 bars of power gained, assuming she doesn't throw other specials, and Archangel should be able to take care of business. So anyway, we were up against SAS in this war. A couple sloppy mistakes on both sides, but it is looking like we are winning this war. The final score is not yet determined, but we have a pretty substantial lead, so kudos to the team. The other point of information is that we had a little bit of a BG swap. I ended up, we kind of split BG3 and moved most of that group to BG1, where I am now the sole BG leader in terms of the war stuff. So I am now a lead planner. Unfortunately, I'm not in the same group as DLL anymore, but he's staying in a sort of turned over BG3, and they had an amazing first war as well. So this was mostly due to just kind of a lack of people that were able to plan, and so I offered to step up a little bit and take on a little bit more responsibility. But our BG1 did quite well. Lots of familiar faces from the old BG3 there. These are some fellas that I've been playing with for years now, actually. And really fun to be collaborating with them in BG1. But we ended up with a 163 with only 2 deaths. And given that it's a new season, it's a new tactic, there's usually a little bit of rust, I'm very happy with that result. And yeah, everyone doing a good job. Everyone's got some really good champs ranked up for us to be able to combat this map. And that's going to do it for now. So anyway, really fun to use the Archangel and Apoc team. Some new defenders like Kraven and Misty, as well as just kind of an old school Archangel Horseman takedown of the left side of the minis is something that you've probably seen before, but at least that Skrull fight was a little interesting. So that's going to do it for today. Thanks for checking it out. There will be more war videos coming out this season, and I'll catch you in the next one.